Okay, so The Marvels is on Disney Plus, and that means it is time for my review of The Marvels. Now, what is The Marvels even about? That's a good question. So basically when Dar-Ben discovers a quantum band, a wormhole is opened, entwining Carol, Monica, and Kamala's powers, causing them to switch places every time that they use said powers. And basically the three of them must figure out how to work together in order to save the universe. Yep. That's it. Now, technically, The Marvels is connected to other MCU projects. Like, it's considered a sequel to Captain Marvel, WandaVision, Miss Marvel, and Secret Invasion. So, out of those 4 titles, I would say Secret Invasion is probably the least connected to this movie and can be skipped pretty easily. So if you didn't watch Secret Invasion, you maybe don't remember what happened in Secret Invasion. That's fine, it don't matter. Now, Captain Marvel, WandaVision, and Miss Marvel can be pretty useful to watch to sort of gain an understanding of, who these characters are and what their powers are. But theoretically, you could just go into this movie without having seen any of those either, because The Marvels does a pretty good job of explaining, how these characters got to where they are at the start of the movie and kind of explaining what their powers are. So, while it could be beneficial to watch those projects, it's not necessary to watch those projects. Now, another thing to note is that there are other projects that this movie is briefly connected to, but it's difficult to say what they are without spoiling it. So I'm not going to. I will say, though, that it is very brief moments, like extremely brief moments, and you don't necessarily have to know much about the projects to understand what's happening in those scenes, and it can work if you see those scenes and then you go back to revisit said projects to gain a better understanding. It is what it is, and if you know, you know, and if you don't, watch the movie. Enough said. Now, my non-spoiler thoughts of this movie. Basically, I'm going to say I wasn't prepared to like this movie. I was prepared to actually kind of hate this movie because I'm not a huge fan of the first Captain Marvel movie. I'm not really a fan of Captain Marvel as a character either. So I was like, okay, but I do love Monica and I do love Kamala. So I was like, okay, maybe. But I didn't think that they would be enough to make this movie enjoyable for me. But honestly, I was kind of pleasantly surprised by how much fun I had with this movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it is far from a perfect movie. In fact, it is very much not a perfect movie. But I enjoyed it a lot more than I have some of the more recent Marvel projects and even some from previous phases. So that's a win, I guess. The team up of Carol, Monica, and Kamala was a lot of fun. Their dynamics with each other were a blast. The fight scenes, especially with the switching places bit, those were fun to watch. Visually, it was a lot of fun. The overall plot of the movie was kind of weak. Like, if I'm going to be honest, when I was looking at, what is this movie about? I was like, I literally don't even remember. Because the plot is probably, honestly, the least memorable thing about this movie. So, yeah, the plot is where this movie kind of falls. Like, it's still enjoyable to watch, and I did have fun watching it. It's just like, when I sit there and I think back on this movie, the plot is not anywhere near the forefront of why I like this movie. So do with that information what you will. But now I'm going to be moving into spoiler territory. So if you have not seen the Marvels yet, go watch it, come back here, or risk being spoiled, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, basically I'm going to be diving into certain plot points and giving my thoughts on those. Yeah. So we're going to start with the Marvel crawl / the ending credits. Because I love them. I love them. And normally I don't like to point these things out because it's kind of like generic and a lot of the same type thing. But I really love that the Marvel crawl featured like Carol, Monica, and Kamala prominently, I guess. And I kind of hope that Marvel continues down this route by taking the characters that are the central focus of either the movie or the series and putting them sort of front and center within the Marvel crawl, because it changes things up and I like that. But the end credits scene I also loved because they looked like comic book drawings, and like, you know, Kamala as a character, we saw it in Miss Marvel. We saw it also in the Marvels, that she's all about, you know, creating these like visual aspects. And so it kind of fit. And I really, really loved that because it looked really cool. It was very bright. It was very colorful. And I really loved that. So yeah, I just wanted to give some love to the Marvel crawl and the ending credits because those were awesome. Now, in terms of the switching, we're going to get the meat and the potatoes right away. Why is the switching happening? To be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I fully understood this, but this is how I understood it. So, because Carol, Monica, and Kamala have light-based powers, they are connected. And the fact that the bangle that Kamala's power stems from has a twin, which was used to create the portal that Carol and Monica touched at the same time, it linked the three heroes together. That's how I interpret it. I have no idea if that's the way it's supposed to be. It was kind of bizarrely and confusingly and kind of throwaway lined as to why all of this was happening. That's how I understood it. If I'm completely wrong, please let me know in the comments down below, because I feel like I am. But that's how I understood it anyway. So, yeah. Now, ultimately, I did love this. Like, a lot of people had mixed feelings about it. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. I loved it. Like, I think seeing the three of them come together and figure out, you know, how and why they're switching and learning to control it, that was a lot of fun. The only gripe I have with that was that those scenes went on way too long. Like, I think if they had shortened those scenes and spent the time on other characters, particularly fleshing out Dar-Ben, that would have been a little bit better. But I guess since Dar-Ben died at the end anyways, we didn't need to spend much time on Dar-Ben because Dar-Ben is no longer a character. Fun. Now, the adventures on Saber. This was a lot of fun, okay? So, I love Kamala's family. I loved them on Miss Marvel. I loved them in the Marvels. Putting them on Saber with Fury was just, it was perfectly fun, and I loved it. Such fun dynamics all around. Like, because her family's rightly concerned for Kamala's safety, and, like, Fury is just like, these people are way too intense, help me. Like, and I love that. So, that was a lot of fun. And then we have the baby Flurkins. They're so cute. And, you know, they came in handy when we had to escape Saber headquarters by them eating all the people. Look, I loved the voice coming over through, like, the intercom speaker saying, "Stop running and let the Flurkin eat you." It was hilarious. Now, did we need all of this baby Flurkin stuff? No. No, we didn't. Did I enjoy it anyways? Yes, I did. I love baby Flurkins. They're so cute. They're so cute. I love them. It was pointless, but we had it and just enjoy it. Now, in terms of the Marvels, the trio that this movie is centered around, I loved their dynamics with each other. This is a common theme throughout this movie. I love the character dynamics and not much else. But I really love their dynamics with each other. Like, Kamala's like the little sister who wants to tag along with her older sisters and wants to be just like them. She's brand new to all of this. She's fangirling. I love it. She's us. Now, Carol and Monica, of course, have this history with each other, but they've grown apart, and Monica finally got to address why she was angry at Carol, which was very evident in WandaVision, because Carol promised to come back and she never did. I get it. I get it from a certain standpoint. Like, it makes sense. If you're a child and, you know, someone that you're close to promises to come back and they don't, it can hurt. Do I think that maybe this should have been carried throughout her whole life? Maybe not. But I guess maybe it had to do with, you know, Maria having the cancer and her dying. And it's like, where were you? Like, so I guess I'll give it that. But I just kind of wish that that had been addressed instead of just like, well, you promised you would come back and you never did. Like, outright tell me that it's, you know, in part because of Maria's cancer and that they needed Carol there for support and she wasn't there. But we do see that Carol did return, presumably during the blip, to visit Maria, who was going through her second battle with cancer, because why not? Like, I was already like, during WandaVision, when it's like, oh yeah, like, Maria died of cancer. I was like, are you kidding me? But then it's like, no, she had cancer. She beat cancer and then cancer came back. I'm like, and I realized that this is real life. You know, a lot of people go through this. Cancer being a cancer. And, you know, people, you know, having to battle it and then beating it and then it coming back. And I get it. I get that that's a part of life. But why do we keep doing this to Maria? Like, seriously. Oh. But yeah, anyways, Carol did come back. She didn't want to come back because she didn't want Monica to see her as the person who destroyed the Kree and Hala. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I feel like it was like weak all around all of this. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But regardless, I did love all their dynamics with each other. And honestly, the character dynamics are what make this a good movie. Now, another thing I want to address is a new couple within the MCU? Question mark. Look, I don't know whether this is a new couple. I don't know. But I was getting the vibes when Valkyrie came to take the Skrulls to their new home. I was getting a vibe between Valkyrie and Carol. Like, I'm like, is this a couple? Like, are they a couple? Or are they just really good friends? Who wants to let me know what vibes they were getting from Valkyrie and Carol? Because I was getting couple vibes, but I know I could be wrong. I don't know how I would feel about it because personally I don't care about either of them. But, I mean, I was getting the vibes. Was I way off base? You tell me. Now, the costumes. Oh my goodness. I love these costumes. Like, Carol, Monica, Kamala, they all get new costumes. And I love it. The only thing that I wish that we had gotten was the scarf for Kamala. Because it was such a meaningful moment in Miss Marvel when her mom gave her the scarf and everything. And like, I just wish that we had that in this movie and we didn't. And maybe it will carry over into future projects. Like, she didn't have the scarf with her because she was in like her civvies and all that. But like, I hope it carries over because yeah, I love that moment in Miss Marvel and I wanted it in this movie and I didn't get it. And so I'm hoping that we get it in future projects. Yeah. Now, Aladna? I'm probably saying that wrong. They said it several times in this movie. I didn't pay attention. Y'all, it's a singing planet. They don't understand you unless you're singing. Okay. I wasn't aware this was going to be a musical. When we first got there, though, and, like, everybody was, like, singing, I was like, okay, I'm kind of vibing with this, you know? It looks like a fun, cheerful place. Everybody's singing, like, this feels like the type of world I want to live in. And then it got old. Really, really quickly. It got really old really quickly. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the singing. They had really good voices. Monica and Kamala getting into it by dancing. That was hilarious. But, oh my goodness, it got old really quickly. And I realized that I don't want to live on this planet because I don't want to deal with constant singing. So I'm glad that the prince was bilingual and can understand talking because that meant we didn't have to keep singing. And I was like, yes. Because... oh boy, I was over the singing very quickly. Yeah. But we got a new Nick Fury. No, it's not as dramatic as it sounds. Nick Fury is still there, Nick Fury is still alive, and we still love him. But the next generation has a new Nick Fury. Kamala Khan is the new Nick Fury. She's using the next generation iPad, that's what she called it, to track down Kate Bishop and basically tells her that she isn't the only kid superhero in the world, that she's putting together a team. She wants Kate Bishop to join. Kate Bishop looks like she's maybe on board. Presumably Cassie Lang is next. We did get a Cassie Lang name drop. Don't know who else is going to be in this whole lineup, but we are getting a Young Avengers project. Presumably. I do say presumably. But, I mean, this is the closest that we've come to having it. Like, this feels like the closest we've come. Like, I thought, okay, maybe with WandaVision, Billy and Tommy, I was like, okay, maybe we're heading down that path. Then they disappeared. But then they reappeared on another universe. So, I don't know. What are the rules? But this feels like the closest we've come to confirming that a Young Avengers project is in the future. Whether it's a movie, whether it's a series, whether it's they're just tagging along through another movie. Hopefully not that option, but whatever. We're having it. Presumably. I'm not saying we are, and I'm not saying we aren't. But... yeah, I love the idea of it. I love the idea of a Young Avengers. Set up the next generation. Let's go. But of course we have a post-credit scene because it's a Marvel movie and we have post-credit scenes in Marvel movies. So basically the movie kind of ends, sort of, with Monica having to close up the barrier so that the other universe doesn't bleed into this universe. Presumably so we don't have a multiverse of madness incident. So she goes and she closes up the barrier. She gets stuck in another universe. Blah, 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 blah. She wakes up. She sees her mom. So Lashana Lynch is back. She's playing Binary. Beast is there. Charles is asking for an update. Y'all, X-Men, here we come. Like, I love this. I love it. And hopefully we get to actually explore this universe. Because I love Monica. This seems to be where she is permanently stuck at. Hopefully Binary actually gets to live in this universe because main Marvel universe killed her with cancer. Whatever universe it was in Multiverse of Madness, I can't remember. She got by Wanda. And I'm just hoping that in this universe she gets to actually stick around. Can we not kill another version of Maria Rambeau, please? Thank you. Also, this seems to have an established X-Men team going. Whether it's an X-Men tied to the movies, seems like maybe it is, but maybe not. Who knows? But either way, an established X-Men. We got Charles, y'all. I mean, we don't have him on screen yet, but we had a name drop, so hey, I'm here for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna love this universe. Hopefully we get to explore it. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Who knows? But I'm hoping that we do. So yeah, that's kind of my overall impression of everything. But overall, I think that I love the character dynamics of this movie. I love the setup for the Young Avengers. I love the setup for potential X-Men movies. I think visually it was fun. I think the fight scenes were fun, especially with the switching places. That was a lot of fun to explore. I just wish that Dar-Ben had been fleshed out a little bit more so that we could have had more stakes, I guess. Like, we could have felt more for Dar-Ben. Maybe we weren't supposed to, but, like, I feel like I didn't have a strong feeling towards Dar-Ben either way, and I feel like when it comes to movies, you want to feel some type of way for the characters, whether it's love them or hate them or love to hate them. I just felt meh. So, ultimately, the superhero plot, hero versus villain, was the weakest part of this movie. This superhero movie. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a thing. Now, granted, I went into this movie with very low expectations. I went in not expecting to love it at all. And I think maybe that helped me with my enjoyment of this movie because I wasn't hopeful for much. And I got some good stuff. So, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's going to be for everybody, though. I think plot-wise, it's kind of all over the place. If you're not particularly fan of character dynamics, it may not be for you. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Marvels. Let me know, what did you all think of the Marvels? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you just feel meh about it? How do you feel about a potential Young Avengers and future X-Men movies? And let me know if I got the power switching logic right or if I'm completely way off. And yeah, let me know all your thoughts about the Marvels in the comments down below.